Hello and welcome to PFF Fantasy Football Podcast, Football Guys Championship Edition. I'm Ian Hartitz, and this is number 7 on the season. Dwain McFarland joining me as always. We'll see how many we end up with here, Dwain. But 10 sounds pretty cool. We'll see.
Yeah, like if you listen closely, you hear my daughter Zoe. She has no clue I'm podcasting. I guess she's just like singing away in the background. So we'll get to Zoe here in a minute. But yeah, man, happy to get number 7 in. We've had some good luck here these last few drafts. Like I think we've done a solid job drafting, but we've also been in some rooms where like we've had some good fortune go our way, which is always good.
Love that siren, the horn when round 1, pick 1 is on there. Shout out Zoe McFarland. Spreading some positive vibes throughout Dallas, Texas, if you will. So
she's very positive. I have to give it to her.
Always a great day to be great. We are picking out 108. Dwain, we have now been in the back half of 6 of 7 drafts, and the draft that we like the least happened to come at 101. So I'm feeling that the deadly caramel, what's our whole name? The deadly caramel delights are more deadly than ever out of the 108, Dwain.
I don't know, man. I just try to come up with something about someone dying, and it goes with Girl Scouts. So I don't know. Like I'm running. It's the caramel delights. Okay. Like we should probably just get rid of the caramel and just be like, unless you want to make it like Mount Caramel, then we could get like all David Koresh. But nobody will get that. Like you don't even probably know who David Koresh is.
Right over my head. No idea.
Yeah. He was a guy from Waco, which is south of here, like 70 miles. And he had like this, this compound with all these weapons and all these women and stuff. And like the ATF it was like a 3 or 4 day ordeal, like on TV back in the day when I was in high school. But Ian, whenever I was in school, I remember like we're totally going off on a tangent just to start. I still remember like when I was in first grade and I got in trouble at school, like I got my name on the board with like 3 check marks by it. Like, and I usually never really got in trouble at school, but like the teacher like literally pinned a note to my back, like safety pin. I had no clue what was in it. There's a note in an envelope on my back. I have to ride the bus home. I have to get home, walk down the driveway, and my dad's like, "What's that?" I'm like, trying to like keep him from seeing it. Yeah. I got my ass busted. Back in those days, you just got your ass busted. You know what? And I never did that stuff again. So,
oh my goodness. Well, that's one way how to start a podcast. I'm here for it as we get all the way.
That's where all my anxiety in life comes from. That one day having to have that stupid note pinned to my back in first grade.
It is funny how we have those select memories that always will be there for us no matter how old we get. I can imagine, at least. I haven't quite gotten up there as high as you yet, Dwain, but one day, hey, I know I'm not going to live forever, but modern technology, my hopeful high level of income, 150, 175. We'll see what happens down the line. Travis Kelce off the board at 105, man. He went, second round last draft we were in?
Yeah, that was a wild one. He usually goes in the first round here. Just so for anybody that's listening for the first time, now that you got through my, me going on the couch here with Ian, we needed Sigmund Bloom here, but it's 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 2 flex, but it's tight end premium, so 1.5 point per reception for the tight end. So that makes them go much higher here. And then now Austin Eckler goes off the board, and Jamar Chase is off the board. Ian.
Pick your running back. Who do we want?
Well, or like I was thinking maybe we switch it up this time. What if we go with Diggs? I like some Diggs. You could talk me into just go ahead and taking Mark Andrews here. I would do either one of those things.
I don't think we consider that big of a difference between Saquon and even Kamara and these guys available. So let's get a top 5 wide receiver. I'm cool with Stefon.
Yeah, and let's let some magic happen. Let's see what comes back. You good with it?
Yeah, let's do it. Stefon Diggs.
Right, cool. Let's do it. Stefon Diggs on the squad.
Boom. The latest Josh Allen quote hyping up Gabriel Davis, just saying all the right things. But that could be, we're talking about, is it going to be Gabriel Davis? Maybe Isaiah McKenzie, maybe Dawson Knox as the number 2, or is it 200 target Stefon Diggs season? A man can dream, Dwain. Of course, I'm, right after drafting Stefon Diggs, that's where my mind goes. I mean, every damn team is fantastic the second I'm done drafting them. We'll see how we're feeling 30 minutes into week 1, but maybe, just maybe, man, this is the year.
But it's realistic, man. I mean, he's an elite talent. You're on a pass heavy offense. You got a really good quarterback. And as much as you and I, we like Gabe Davis, we've talked about Dawson Knox. We've talked about James Cook getting involved in the passing game. We've talked about Isaiah McKenzie. But at the end of the day, none of the guys behind Diggs have really proven to be someone that can just demand this large target load. Now, maybe one of them can step up and do that, right? And so there's this door that's open. And if Diggs did get a 28-30% target share in an offense that throws the ball as much as what the Bills do, you would be looking at a 200 target season. Like that really could happen. And that would obviously make him the wide receiver 1 in fantasy football, most likely.
As we continue to go through, after Stefon Diggs, Najee Harris, Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams, Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon off the board. CeeDee Lamb still sitting out there. Saquon Barkley. All of a sudden, Mark Andrews becomes in play. What are you thinking here, Dwayne? We have 3 picks ahead of us.
Yeah, well, I like Swift. I love Barkley. I love Lamb. I love Kamara. I love Pitts. I love Andrews. They cannot do anything. Honestly, I like drafting down here. I've come to the conclusion that this is just my favorite position to draft from is basically 8 and lower. Because no matter what, especially in this format where you get the tight end premium coming back, you're getting a really, really good asset onto your team.
We feel better about the top 16, 17 guys than we really do. I think that next tier.
Yes, there's definitely a drop. I mean, and we're one way a pick. We have Mark Andrews on the board here.
Yeah,
I say we take Mark Andrews.
Swift or Andrews? Do we have any Swift yet? I know we have some Andrews.
We have one Swift, but this is the thing is it's good for both of them. Like I'm fine with Swift too. I mean, this is several spots past for him, so I like Swift. The problem is like we like some of the running backs that come back this way. The tight ends definitely drop. I can go either way, honestly, but if we don't, I don't think we have a Swift team together. So if you want to click on Swift, I'm good with it. This is the thing. Like when you're drafting here, this is a really good tier of players to be selecting from.
Let's go Andrews. The one thing I've learned doing these is not to get cute at tight end. This is a reasonable spot for Andrews. I mean, he goes up the turn. He goes up the turn sometimes when we're drafting, at least. So
it's nice. It is nice in this format to not be worried anymore about tight end. Like you can always add another if you want, but you don't have to. You know what I mean?
I think there's still enough. Again, man, it's the late round. Not late round, but like round 7, 8 through 10, 11, all those running backs that just continue to really be priced down there. I am happy to scoop them up and just address these other positions early. I have the confidence to do so because of that range, not because I'm just a 0 RB, truth or diehard over.
But it works. It works, especially from this end of the board. Like it really does work. There's some good stuff that you can do. So yeah, I'm with you.
Big news of the day, Jimmy Garoppolo restructured the content back in San Francisco. Apparently has about $9 million in incentives. I guess he does have a no trade clause though. So he will be in San Francisco for seemingly the entirety of the 2022 season. Of course, Kyle Shanahan on record. This is Trey Lance's team, yada, yada, yada. Also said that before they re-signed him. Dwayne, initial thoughts on this. Are you happy to now maybe get a little Trey Lance discount?
Yeah, I'll take the discount, but it's definitely not good just because you know how things go. And Lance is raw. So if Lance comes out and struggles the first 3 or 4 games and just the 49er fans alone, they're going to go berserk, man.
I know. It's possible now.
And we know how Shanahan does. So there's definitely more risk involved with Trey Lance now. However, the upside remains the same. The upside is still the same. Like you could be getting a top 3 quarter. You could be getting Lamar Jackson in round 10 of your fantasy draft, and Lamar Jackson goes in round 5. So I think it's something where the upside is still great enough. But I don't want it slows me down a little bit on my Trey Lance exposure. Like as far as really being hyper aggressive, right? With the round I'm taking it in. Now it's more like, okay, you make it to me, I'll take you. I'm not going to be a chicken about it, but I'm not going to reach around on you unless maybe I've set up a team where I've got Debo on it or Kittle, something like that. Are you going to share our board and
I got it up there. Oh my goodness. No, I don't.
Yeah, you don't. It's okay.
Time to share my screen. Sorry about that, YouTubers. Okay. I will say, the thing is, Dwayne, an underdog and FFPC and any high stakes. Yeah, I don't think he might not necessarily be going QB7 anymore. I could see myself potentially.
I don't think we move him down. I think you just don't have to be as aggressive, right?
I think maybe I might move his overall rank down a little bit just to kind of match the ADP. But yeah, I don't think he's like you have him right now, QB7, overall 75. I could see myself bumping him down like 5 or 10 spots overall, but still will be ahead of the next tier of guys. And I was just gonna say it doesn't really matter, man, because we're still gonna be so far ahead of consensus that right now we're seeing in these home leagues, and you should be at that point in the draft. So maybe if you do get Trey Lance, but if he's still going QB 13 in those leagues, man. I'll say this. When I have Trey Lance now, he's definitely now in the pool of quarterbacks where I would definitely be more open to getting a Kirk Cousins or Justin Fields at the right price later.
Yeah, I'm with you. And actually, I did that a couple times this weekend, not knowing for sure what was going to happen, but just knowing that Jimmy G hadn't been moved. And man, getting Brady in round 11 is just like, you're like, okay.
It's a hell of a try.
Yeah, it's really hard to just not be like, okay, well, fine, I'll just take Tom Brady in round 11. I'm seeing Russ Wilson slide in around 11. And in these particular drafts over at FFPC, obviously on Underdog, they're going to go a little bit sooner because everybody is going to draft 2. But yeah, I'm with you. I think I'm still going to continue. I'm not going to shy away from Lance completely. I'm just not. He's not going to be my priority pick in round 9 anymore. Like before, if I didn't have Hurts, if I didn't have Lamar Jackson, if I didn't have Kyler Murray, then I was like, okay, fine. Like I'm just going to go after Trey Lance in round 9. So it's kind of two things. One, the Jimmy G thing, but then now I've been in like 3 or 4 drafts where I've gotten Tom Brady in round 11. I'm like, Tom Brady in round 11 is pretty nice. And the player that you get taken round 9, there's still some really good players on the board in round 9, especially like if some of these guys slide. So
it's weird that Brady's been falling when he was earlier in the offseason sitting around more tight end or not tight end, quarterback 7, quarterback 8. And it's been nothing but really good news. I know they've had some offensive line injuries, not ideal, but when you think about those O-line injuries potentially just leading to less ability to run the ball and more freaking passes for the guy that's already, vying for the league lead and dropbacks every single year, they added Julio Jones, who looks healthy enough to me. Russell Gage is fine. Chris Godwin's come back from just recovery, seems to still be going on the right side of things. So really for Brady, other than losing Gronk, I mean, it's really been nothing except good news for him, at least from his pass catchers and projected volume standpoint.
Yeah. I mean, they've added enough pieces now where I don't feel like we're going to get the drop off. And you and I talked about it in the offseason, last year when all the guys were hurt, like it does hurt guys. That's why Aaron Rodgers is so far down boards right now. When you lose all these different weapons, it can really cause your points per game as a quarterback to go down. Doesn't mean that Brady is a worse quarterback or Aaron Rodgers is a worse quarterback. Like they're still good, but obviously the more weapons you have around you, the better. So yeah, I'm with you. I think we've got enough outs now. If we like, Russell Gage, Mike Evans, we'll eventually get Godwin back to full health. I feel good about it.
I started to dabble in my week 1 write-ups a little bit today, Dwayne. I noticed that Aaron Rodgers has the Vikings in Minnesota in week 1.
Yeah, I saw your tweet.
Yeah, dude, he's going. It's inevitable. 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. Like he's just going to torch that secondary, and we're not going to have a true read on him until a couple of weeks of the season are gone by. All right, they do have Danielle Hunter and Zadarius Smith out there. There is a chance that the Vikings pass rush is actually back this year, but my goodness, like old man
Danielle Hunter and a 3-4 is just weird. Like I'm seeing, but it doesn't matter today. Like it doesn't really matter. Like there's just edge rushers. Rushers. There goes DJ Moore. I was kind of hoping to get a DJ Moore share here.
All right. As we are now 2 picks away, Nick Chubb on the board, 1 pick away. Nick Chubb, Keenan Allen, Cortland Sutton, Ezekiel Elliott, Darren Waller in the queue. Are we calling bullshit on the entire Darren Waller injury thing? It's just a contract ploy.
I feel like it's probably a little bit of both, but yeah, it's probably, you don't like, he's probably got some sort of tweaked issue, but would it really have kept him out of this much? If he had a contract that he liked really in hand, I don't know. We have to see. Oh, well, there he goes. Good job, Ian. Just again, speaking it into existence. There goes Darren Waller.
I don't think I've said this once all year, Dwayne. Nick Chubb at 308?
No, man. No.
Okay.
No.
That's fine. That's all I needed. In that case, Keenan Allen.
Hey, I got him in round 4 this weekend. He came back around to me at this pick. And
Keenan
then
Allen.
I would. What you like Keenan or you like Cortland? We both have them really close, I think.
I'm Keenan over Cortland.
I'm good. I love Keenan Allen. Let's do this. Yeah. Keenan Allen on the squadron, man. I just like to say squadron.
Like, I'm sorry, Keenan's not this like 80 catch for 1,200 yard guy, but you know what? If he gets 120 catches for 1,200 yards instead, that's actually more fantasy points. So,
and hey, you look, if eventually Ian, like he just has a 12 touchdown season with that,
yeah,
like people are going to go bonkers,
Keenan Allen. I mean, it's not. Can't obviously any of these guys are in the NFL are fantastic athletes, but it's not like Keenan's just been this burner over the years anyway. If there is going to be a wide receiver that could potentially not have that drop off, I think he might fit the bill for that. At the other side of things, maybe you say he loses a step. That's going to be more impactful to him than someone else. We can look at a lot of these different ways, Dwayne. But once again, after I draft a guy, I choose to be an optimist and immediately switch my analysis to the best case scenario. Through 3 rounds, Stefon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Mark Andrews. Hey, we're just building, baby. We'll be fine. And as long as we continue to really smash these second halves of the drafts, that's the thing, Dwayne. I feel like every radio show I go on, we're talking about McCaffrey versus Taylor, or like, is round 3 for DJ Moore ridiculous? At the end of the day, man, it's pretty hard to get through 4 rounds of a 10 or 12 person draft.
I was on one today.
Not feel great about your freaking team here.
Yeah, exactly. And I was on one today, and it was an awesome one, but it was just like, hey, who's going to overtake Josh Allen? I was like, let's just forget that conversation. Let's just say, don't draft Josh Allen in your draft in round 3, because that costs way too much versus the running back or receiver you're going to get. And then guess what? You can just turn around in round 6 or 7 when the other tiers flatten, and you can get Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, or you can get Lamar Jackson. Like, that's the real conversation, right, that we need to be happening. And if you miss those, then fine. Take Trey Lance in 10. Take Tom Brady in 11. Like, that's the real conversation, like, that people need to hear, right, around quarterbacks and just honestly just roster construction.
I'm not fading Joe Burrow, the human being. I'm fading Joe Burrow on pick 55. That's all.
Yeah. Whenever you could be taking this other asset instead of Joe Burrow. Yeah.
Still got some one pick away options. ETM, McLaurin, Amon-Ra. This is an ETM build.
Yeah, it is. If ETN's here, I think we take him. I think we're just buying the dip on ETN. Like, people are double counting. There we go. Josh Allen off the board. See, you got to speak the right name into it.
I was about to say, man, if that I would have had to shut up if that would have happened again there. ETN.
Right, so are you good on ETN?
Yep,
me too. All right.
Mid-round 4? Come on.
Hell yeah. No, we're just buying the dip. So here's what's happening with ETN, right? Now it's all of a sudden we're hearing, oh, well, ETN's going to have to share time with somebody. Again, we've talked about this before, so I won't beat a dead horse. But you and I have been saying all along, ETN's probably not getting more than 50% of the rushing work.
Yeah, it's fine.
Like, it's all about the passing down duties. Now, if he misses those and we don't get them, again, the process was right. As your fiance and as my wife leave me, the process was still right, Ian. We'll move in together. This guy's got a castle for sale across. We probably can't afford it, but like, we'll just hang out together, I guess, and be like, the process was right. Like, that'll be the name of our new pod. The process was right.
Oh my God. It's all right. Please don't speak that into existence too much, but hey, if that's our worst case scenario, so be it.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing that could happen here? Okay. I can live with that. Travis Etienne, round 4 RB. Now this is where it's, probably not going to be looking RB here as we move on. Nah. And again, there are, to your point, I think you're right on this. There are like archetypes of the dead zone running backs. Your Jacobs, your Elijah Mitchells, like this early, J.K. Dobbins, the early down backs that we're just not confident are going to be getting the targets. There is the other side of the coin, though, where in this range, you really do have the last true upside wide receivers and those quarterbacks going there. So I think that's why it's like a double-edged sword. Like, I agree the running backs kind of going this range suck, but it's like again, it's great on both sides of it because the running backs aren't great in this range anyway, and every other position is so good.
Right. And it's interesting the way these drafts are going because people are just getting smarter. And as people get smarter, ADP sharpens so that even the people that maybe don't understand that they shouldn't take David Montgomery in round 4 or Josh Jacobs in round 6, the ADP is driven by all these drafts.
Right.
So what ends up happening is then all of a sudden, so I noticed that this weekend, I did a main event draft with a guy named David Hubbard. He plays a ton over at FFPC. And I did, some of my own Footballguys Players Championship drafts. And what I was noticing is this, that, the ADP is getting so tight. Everybody was drafting the same way in the first 10 rounds. They're all avoiding those running backs. And then you're sitting there in round 7 and you're like, well, crap, David Montgomery's still here. Like, what do I do? And it just feels dirty. But then you're like, well, round 7 for a guy that right now at least is the every down back, maybe I should take him. But how I know that these aren't like just all sharps is because then by round 13, they're already taking a defense, round 14, taking a kicker, round 15, taking their backup quarterback. So it's not like you're just playing in a room of sharps. What's happened is the ADP has gotten so sharp. They're just going down the queue. They're just going down the list. And so it definitely makes drafts more challenging. I think that's a very it's an interesting way that ADP has shaped up this year and worked its way into, a tournament like this, where last year people never got away from the dead zone running backs for the most part. You'd only have a team or two that would do it over here at FFPC. It happened at Underdog. Underdog, like ADP took over, and then every drafter was just avoiding running backs in the dead zone. So now it's actually flown. It's flowed over into this format as well, which is just something interesting to think about. Like, next year it's something that, like, as we're thinking about strategy moving into, hey, how are we attacking our 2023 drafts? Not trying to not just enjoy where we are with 2022, but I think it's something we'll just have to consider, that it's probably going to be the new norm, right? That's going to happen even sooner next year. This year it happened like in August. All of a sudden those guys all got pushed down.
Gotta love being able to maybe, Dwayne, still get Jerry Jeudy inside the top, I don't know, 30 receivers at this point. I am so confused how Hamler and Jeudy have not jumped up way higher when the Tim Patrick news got hurt.
Yeah, and Cortland has moved up. Sutton's moved up like another 5 picks since that news.
I feel like he's moved up just almost because we feel more confident that he's separated himself as the one, which could very well be out of line.
I don't think it's going to be true. I think it's going to be tight between those two. I think if you made me pick, like right now, Girl Scout sauntering to the door, got caramel delights, in a bag full of death, I'm taking Jeudy at ADP over Sutton at his ADP.
At this point, yeah, it's widened way too much. I thought they've always been close. I was down to give Sutton the slight edge, but it's one of those things, where he's ranked like 1 or 2 spots ahead of him.
Early on, you were mainly doing it because we were just worried about how often could Jeudy be on the field with Tim Patrick.
Once Patrick's out of the picture, it's neck and neck conversation. We haven't had to move Jeudy up a bunch because his ADP is staying down. That's the part I don't really get, but I will happily take it, man. Like, Judy's popping out. I know you were doing some similar research as I was this weekend, just, kind of the ESPN ADP specifically, and trying to show some of the values. Like, you see guys like Jeudy and Gabe Davis and Rashad Bateman, especially. Oh my gosh. Like, Dwayne and I, and a lot of smart people, like, it's not even that Dwayne and I are just that ahead of the curve of everyone else. Like, you look at just different ADPs, and these guys are a lot of times going inside the top 50, 60 picks, usually top 60 picks, going outside the top 70, top 80 in these ESPN ADP leagues, man. So I think just the fact that you can get such good wide receivers late, especially in those leagues, just loading up on at least getting, 2 workhorse running backs at the beginning, if not even 3 and a tight end. Just those rosters, you're able to bail yourself out a wide receiver more than ever.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Over there. And again, that's the key, right? Knowing, that's why it's so important, to know the ADP of the site that you're going to draft on. Right. And, sometimes people won't necessarily use the queue as much. You might be in a draft room where you're like, oh man, everybody's obviously just drafting off their own list, and then you can pivot. But for the most part, and you've seen it, Ian, even over here, for the most part, the queue is a heavy influencer on people, especially when they've got 30 to 60 seconds to make a pick. It plays a factor, I would say, for 70 to 80% of drafters. So knowing what that looks like, and the queues are driven by ADP on most sites nowadays, right? So you got to understand that, and then you kind of, like we always talk about, reverse engineer your teams. And so over here, it's tougher to wait at receiver, but over in ESPN, I would absolutely say, there's a lot of times I would just start with 3 running backs or 2 running backs and Kyle Pitts, and then just pound those receivers.
What if the base reaction of sites like this, when you auto picked, it was not someone from your queue, a pure auto pick, like the
Jeudy
last
in front of you, Ian. Sorry.
Cox. And Bateman.
Okay, so here's our question: do we want a DK Metcalf team? I know you and I have been. I've been more down on him than you. We do not have him on a team. This is a decent price tag on him. There is also Michael Thomas still available, but there's a chance Michael Thomas comes back.
Michael Thomas and Chris Godwin, we talk about this, they have far more volatility. I'm fine getting a DK Metcalf team. What are we buying him at?
I don't have to. I love Michael Thomas. So if you say Michael Thomas, I'm clicking his name in a freaking heartbeat.
No, I want DK Metcalf here. I think Thomas can come back around. We just got Metcalf as the wide receiver 29.
I'm with you. I like it. Let's do it. And I have zero exposure to DK Metcalf in these tournaments, so I'm good.
And how much All right, Geno Smith, man, I understand it's Geno Smith, but realistically, how many like great games would Geno Smith actually have to play in order for people not to just roll their eyes and be like, it's Geno Smith? Because right now the count's at like 6 or something, including some of the preseason, but literally the highest grade preseason passer, minimum 25 attempts. He went out there last year and you look at DK's stats with Geno under center, and they were fantastic. And like, oh, he came in halfway through the Rams game. Like, okay, he scored a touchdown against Jalen freaking Ramsey before that because DK Metcalf is a top 5, arguably top 10, definitely talent at the position right now. So at a wide receiver 29, man, I am down. I guess Michael Thomas, like we've just been so ahead of the field with him. That's another one that I don't think has adjusted enough. And we had the new hamstring injury pop up, which I think stopped it from adjusting even more so to where we kind of both already have him as a top 20 receiver. I guess you're still a little bit down, but for me, Thomas and Chris Godwin, two guys that I think you can argue already you should be taking top 20, and the field is still down to let them slide. Although Godwin goes off the board here right at the end of round 5.
Yeah, I think the injury news has got people a little bit scared as well, to your point, on Thomas. But it doesn't sound like it's anything serious, at least.
No, but it's not
what we know for now. Right. But it's fine. So I'll tell you, like this weekend, I did like 5 drafts on my own. And I saw Thomas go in round 4, the end of round 4 times. Damn. And then finally I got him to come back to me where I actually let him go by once in round 5 and got him at the beginning of round 6. Now we don't hear he goes right here. Like, but it's okay. We needed a DK Metcalf share. And on the DK thing, like, look, the situation is absolutely terrible with the quarterback, the offensive line, the pace of play, all that crap. But at the end of the day, like there is a good example, and I know this is just one thing throwing out there, but I went back and just looked at Josh Gordon in that year that he had where he just went absolutely freaking bananas, and like he played with 3 different quarterbacks, none of which probably anyone listening to this podcast would even know their names. Like it was Brian Hoyer, it was no, it was Jason Campbell, the former Washington
Auburn
commander, yeah, and then it was
Charlie Whitehurst? I thought I had that.
No, was it Anderson? It might have been Anderson.
Oh, Derek Anderson.
It might have been Derek Anderson still hanging on. He gave Braylon Edwards that one season.
Derek Anderson, dog.
There goes Damian Pierce. I know I wasn't going to be able to talk you into it anyway, though, so it doesn't really freaking matter.
No, but how about Chase Edmonds?
I do like Chase Edmonds here.
It's a nice consolation prize.
Is there a receiver like I think it's Elijah Moore or Chase Edmonds. I really like Elijah Moore as well.
Yeah,
hyper explosive player. I mean, we had him as high as 18 like in the offseason.
We have multiple. Okay, so here's the thing: we have multiple shares, but he's the last wide receiver kind of here that there is a little bit of a tear drop off after him. Dwayne,
and we know we can get
Pollard, Hunt, Patterson. We can get some of these guys later. I'm cool with Elijah Moore if you want him.
All right, I love him. Whoa! I just had my mouse hovering over Elijah Mitchell. That would have been terrible. Oh my God! Ian would have just been like, refund. All right, which one you want? I'm good with either. I'm good with Edmonds too, man. I'm feeling it on Edmonds.
Then
let's do it.
Let's do Edmonds then.
Let's do it. Then we got our second back. We're good. We're locked in.
We already got Diggs, Metcalf, and Keenan. Yeah. If DK ends up being the stud that we've seen him be for prolonged stretches, yes, with a much better QB under center, we have 3 top 12 to 15 wide receivers, and now we got our running back. So through 6 rounds,
we have the RB1 overall in ETN and the RB3 overall in Chase Edmonds. If we're just going to go completely positive here, Ian.
There we go. Mark Andrews going to repeat tight end 1. Guys, how can you not love this team? We got the top 6 players in the draft, the top first 6 rounds. I do think though, like Dwayne, okay, if we've had these rosters, like I think the first team we drafted, good team. I like the team. We really need some help at the RB2 potentially, though. We need some things to break our way. And this roster, man, we got everything covered right now. Still plenty of time at quarterback. Adding Edmonds there, I think, and him and ETN, maybe some people will scoff because they don't like explosive pass-catching running backs, but we do. And with the wide receivers and Mark Andrews on hand, still plenty of time in the draft for things to go wrong, but I'm feeling like we're going to be pretty damn right by the time it's all said and done.
Yeah, man, I feel good. And again, we're in that situation where we know we still need another flex player, but whoever we were taking at that spot is still going to be in a starting role, no matter who we take, whether it was a tight end, running back, wide receiver, even if we had wanted to go quarterback. So right after us, Patrick Mahomes goes, Lamar Jackson goes. But no, I like this. I like this team. With Sony Michel released today. Look, Raheem Mostert has not really been the picture of health, Ian.
I'm guessing it's two. I'm guessing it's if I looking at the game by game, it could very well be 50-50 rundown, maybe more like 55-45 in favor of Chase.
I agree.
The
passing down work going to Chase. Look, if you get 50% of the work in an explosive offense like Miami could be,
that's fine
on the ground and all the passing down work, guys, no one's going to care about Chase Edmonds. That's the thing.
And here's the other stuff.
Jalen Waddle and freaking Tyreek Hill are going to take everything.
Yeah, they're going to give them 50% of the freaking target share. Mike Gesicki is rumored about being traded. We're not even sure how much he's going to be on the field. Cedric Wilson may or may not have lost his job to Trent freaking Sherfield. So like all of a sudden, some of the other big contenders for, top dog, not top dog, but number 3 dog in the pecking order for Tua aren't really looking like they're going to be in the picture at all. Looking at those situations, man, I would say that Chase should maybe be the favorite for number 3 targets.
Yeah, I think he is. And I've kind of felt that way for about 4 or 5 weeks now, just knowing how much that it felt like we were going to really see Gesicki coming off. It was our hypothesis that Gesicki was going to come off the field. Then they were playing him late in the games, trying to see if he could block. And then this last weekend, we kind of got the true data point. And overall, I just went back and looked, like with the starters, how often was Gesicki on the field as far as like route participation? And it was only 65%. And the number we want is 80%. Not everyone can be a hero and get 80%. So like 75%, so okay, we can live with that. We could even live with 70. But when you're in the 65 range, and that means some weeks maybe you're at 55, maybe some weeks you are at 70, it's just a complete roller coaster at the tight end position. And so yeah, I think that Chase Edmonds is going to be the number 3 targeted player on the team.
Trade Mike Gesicki to the Cowboys. They have the cap room. Oh, they already have a franchise tag tight end. Mike Gesicki is a wide receiver on the tight end franchise tag. He's actually, if you look at it from that perspective, which is exactly how he's been used his entire career, he ends up being 10, 11 million against the cap, which the Cowboys have over 20 million. So just do something, anything at this point. Maybe don't just take the money. Like I understand there's like more contract stuff to do down the road, but Zeke can get off the books after this season. And if it's a 1-year deal like this, man, like I just don't really see the downside to it. It's a situation where Mike Gesicki or Noah Brown or freaking Jalen Tolbert still trying to figure it out. So yeah, I think Tolbert will be fine down the line, but at the end of the day, he's still a 3rd round freaking rookie going out there expecting to be the number 2 guy in his passing game. So, or Tony Pollard. If it's Tony Pollard, then I take everything back. But something to consider there.
Tony Pollard going to play the slot. He's going to be the leading slot receiver in the NFL this season. It's like what I've heard.
Him and Pollard and Naeem Hines.
Yeah. Oh, I remember when Kareem Hunt was going to do that. Like maybe he could do that. There goes Hurts.
My God.
So people have definitely, look, drafts are just sharper now than what they were. And here's the thing: we talked about this the other day. Like, there's not been as many injuries this preseason that are really going to derail.
Knock on wood, you
early drafts.
Son of a bitch. We're not in the regular season yet, Dwain.
Here, I'm knocking on wood.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, you brought it up, Dwain. It's a terrible story. Brian Robinson literally shot during an attempted hijacking or carjacking, from what I could gather. We have not gotten any sort of timeline. This is obviously a unique situation, and we all hope Brian is okay. Sounds like he is. They're saying that he should be back for the season. I would think it's not going to be anytime soon. Dwain, where would you say, assuming Brian Robinson misses week 1, where do you plan on ranking like Antonio Gibson-ish?
Well, I think
running back threshold?
Yeah, I think he'll be in that mid RB2 conversation, like we pretty much where we had him last year, to be honest. Like it's
probably like right around where, looking at our rankings right now, like we have Chubb RB15, ETN RB16, maybe put Zeke there, maybe Montgomery, but it's going to be tough to rank more than like 20 running backs ahead of Antonio Gibson by the time we.
It is. And he still has the profile we want. We know that he fumbled his way into the doghouse. He struggled with some things, but this is a player that was still explosive, has battled through a shin injury and then a toe injury twice, and he's good in the passing game. So if something happens now and J.D. McKissic were to go down week 1, Jesus. Wow. Antonio Gibson then would be an RB1. So he's got the skill set to be there. And I moved Brian Robinson off of my board, period. Because I just don't know. I don't know what to do. I wouldn't advise anyone to take him. Like it is terrible. Like it's a very sad situation. Like this young guy coming in, had like everything went the way you would want it to, right? And he helped make that happen. He's the lead back, for an NFL team, and then this stuff happens. But for now, I've got him off the board. I wouldn't be drafting Brian Robinson. Even in a 20-round draft like today, I wouldn't draft him.
Yeah, man. I can't believe this is the way the running back is getting removed from the picture. He is. We're down to a two running back backfield. Similar sentiment potentially in New England. All right, we'll talk about that in a second.
One pick.
I mean, hey, man, you have your clicker on Ramondre Stevenson. Maybe I do, but it is a situation where if Ty Montgomery's out of the picture, we kind of mocked the hype because of James White and Ty Montgomery. Well, one retired and the other one potentially really hurt his ankle. With that said, I still think there's enough running backs here. Let's go DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I like Hopkins. We don't have any Hunter Renfrow. We've talked about him a lot. We don't have any Devonta Smith. So that would be the other option. I think Hopkins definitely carries the most ceiling once we get him back in the lineup.
He's our wide receiver 4. That's perfect. I have a very tough time passing on Hopkins. That's my wide receiver 4 anytime.
And that is a starter. So we still need, a guy to replace him for the first.
Oh, I can think of a certain someone.
I know. The Rondell Moore plan by Ian Hartitz.
This is my thesis. It's going to be about 50 words.
And looking to our right, man, look, all those three of the drafters already have 3 backs. Yep. One has 2. So I'm fine letting Ramondre go by when you still have Cordarrelle Patterson. You still got Antonio Gibson, who we just talked about. You still got Kareem Hunt, all those guys on the board. I'm honestly happy with any one of them. I don't feel like, to me anyway, you tell me what your thoughts are. Like, I don't feel like I have to take Ramondre over those guys. I feel like they're all pretty close. And in fact, I think Kareem Hunt's still a better player than Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah, I agree. But bro, it's looking like it's going to be Dame Harrison, Ramondre just going one
for how long though? Like, we know Ty Montgomery might not play week 1.
Yeah, that's true. Did we get an actual catch up on what happened?
Belichick just said, hey, there'd be more status on him. Like, that's the latest I heard earlier today, that they were going to see how he did this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's
generic.
Certainly helps matters. Like, I'll say that, but any of these guys, man.
And you could argue that gives him a chance just to wrestle it away, right? And just be like, okay, I can handle this.
But that's fine. All of a sudden, both of these guys are in the same reason why we like Hunt and CPAT and Chase Edmonds. Like, you can argue Stevenson, I don't think quite as explosive as Gibson, but both guys that we know can catch and are not going to be in terrible offenses, or at least, I guess that isn't the range of outcomes, but they're at least in seemingly 2-back committees at the moment, depending on timeout. So I think this is a really good example of not being stuck in take lock, because we obviously haven't been super high and nearly as high as some people on Stevenson.
If he comes back here, we'll take him. If he makes it back to us here, I think we take him. But you see what we mean? Like, if you look at this, you're watching YouTube, we just took DeAndre, because the way the guys to the right all had their backs. And right after us, Hunter Renfrow, Brandon Ayuk, Amari Cooper, Devontae Smith all go off the board. Now the guy just circled back with Antonio Gibson, but we're still going to get one of these. So again, you're playing your board, and that's where your tiers really help you. Again, like, you don't want take lock, to your point, Ian, on one player. That you've got Darrell Henderson. Jesus.
Bro, wow. Like Cam Akers practice in full.
Hey, pace yourself. We got a whole draft. We got a whole draft here, man. Come on, Team 10.
My goodness.
Okay, well, it's one pick away from us, and we could get our first Dude, Ramondre's here. You want him? We never get him.
Yeah, he should never be here. Yeah, let's go Ramondre.
Let's do it. Boom. This is how you get your exposure to Ramondre Stevenson. This is how you do it. You don't have to reach. We've seen people take him in the 6th round. He's been going in the 7th round regularly. We just get him in round 8. I love it. We got him a full round past ADP, when I think his ADP has more reason than ever to be where it's at, based on James White being out of the picture, based on the timeout thing. And it sounds like, even before timeout got injured, it's tough to believe what we're hearing in terms of the workloads, but there was some chatter about this being more Damian Harris one series, Ramondre Stevenson the next series, and not having the James White guy coming in for like every 3rd down. Like, it was good. And Dwayne, like, part of the reason why your utilization report is so great is because you factor this in, because in one game sample sizes, we can see this get skewed a lot, where maybe it's a lot of 2-minute stuff and we see, a Lance Dunbar of the world, going nuts, but it's really only 2 minutes and they're not coming on the field on 3rd downs. Whereas maybe someone is coming on the field in 3rd down and in 2 minutes, that's when they're really going to be a problem. Exactly. So if it is a true rotation, there's also an opportunity for Stevenson just to take the next step, and they could be like, okay, well, great, you're the guy that's going to get 50%. Harris is going to get 30%. Tymont's going to get 20. Yep. Right. So like if they truly play it that way, I saw that same quote, and that was very interesting. That would be a situation where it's good news for Ramondre Stevenson, because if he really is the best back on the team and they're not just going to be stuck to them all having their own niche role, then he could overtake Damian Harris, right? And all of a sudden be the guy getting 55, 60%, of the work.
And this is good news for Damian Harris too, though. This is also good news for Damian Harris.
I agree.
Everything we just said about Ramondre also applies to Damian. Now, ADP and, you people out there have designated that Damian Harris is now someone that we can look at basically a round later, because we don't have to look at him earlier. So, hey, we will take it. Kadarius Toney off the board, wide receiver 43. I'd love to see a video of him not limping around, Dwayne. That's all I'm going to say.
Me too. I love Kadarius. I've still been taking him, but I've definitely not just been like pouncing on him every time. Honestly, this weekend I had 2 drafts where he fell back to me in the night. So I feel like a lot of drafters are feeling the same way. So when those kind of news cycles, start to really like flourish, I just, if I'm going to do 5 drafts and I can get him, 1 time out of every 5 or 2 times out of every 5 at a discount based on the news, then I just let that handle it for me. And I don't force that player as much as I might, have used. How am I saying this? I won't force them like maybe I previously was, right? Because I really wanted them. Now I'm kind of like, okay, I've got good exposure. I still want to have them, but I'm going to let the board kind of dictate. Like I don't, if he falls around, then that's where I'll get my exposure. And so that's kind of the way I was handling Kadarius Toney this weekend.
Top 3 players on the board: Kareem Hunt, Rashad Penny, Devin Singletary. Like how Hunt just keeps falling behind and not forward, man. What? Where's he going to go if he goes to the Eagles, man? They trade for Kareem freaking Hunt. You're telling me he's not going to put Miles Sanders on the bench day 1?
Absolutely will. Like it won't be close, man. You won't see you won't see Miles Sanders again. Like he'll be there to give Kareem Hunt breathers. That'll be it.
He'll still have a locker, but I mean,
you also won't see Kenny Gainwell. Like Hunt will take over 65% of the work if he lands in Philly. He's just way better than the other 2 guys.
Yeah.
And to be fair to those guys, that's not a knock against them. He's way better than almost every back in the NFL besides a handful.
I don't think you need 2 full hands to count the number of pure talents better than Kareem Hunt. I mean, again, that's like one of those things where you could have argued a couple years ago. I love to pose a question, who would be our RB1 when we face the aliens? And I've done this with running backs before, and you can talk about Taylor and Saquon pre 2020 basically. But when it's someone like Derrick Henry versus Alvin Kamara or Kareem Hunt, like when you think about a running back being able to just be a monster in any offense, no matter how much you want to feature them in the run or pass game, like guys like Kareem Hunt and Alvin Kamara, man, there is something just better. Like Kareem Hunt, I think you could argue, even if Nick Chubb is like the best pure rusher in the NFL, like if you put Kareem Hunt in every NFL offense, could those points per game be higher than if Nick Chubb was running back in every single offense? Point to be made, Dwayne.
Yeah. How about some Kenny Gainwell in round 8 for you, Ian?
Oh my! Okay,
ahead of Kareem Hunt. Oh, that was ahead of Kareem Hunt. Someone just took Kenneth Gainwell ahead.
Oh, you were suggesting that to us. I was like, Dwayne, slow down on the.
No. I'm just saying he just went.
Nyheim Hines, top of the queue, right where he
should be. Team 2, you were doing great when you were on auto draft. Then you showed up to the draft and you took Kenneth Gainwell. That's Team 2. Yeah. Woo.
Also had a bully tight end effort out of Team 5. Got to respect that. Kelsey, Pitts, Evans, Gabe Davis, Justin Herbert. Now getting weird in the running back streets with Elijah Mitchell, Tony Pollard, and Miles Sanders. I don't hate that.
No, I think it's yeah.
I might even say I like it. Herbert probably didn't need to go there. That'd be my only thing. Let's see what direction. Yeah. Just missed out on AJ Dillon, but honestly, yeah, I would have gone Rashad Bateman or Jerry Jeudy at that point over Justin Herbert. Don't love the running backs, but when you're going with the bully tight ends, you're limiting yourself to an extent, Dwayne. I guess like maybe you don't need 3 there. Isn't that kind of breaking our rule of like not panicking and chasing the position when it's not there for you?
Yeah, I don't think you have to. Yeah, you don't. You definitely want to continue to be diverse and take the best values that are there for sure. Yeah, No, I think you're right.
Up within 4 picks. Players in our queue: Naeem Hines, Chris Olave, George Pickens, Treylon Burks. Oh my gosh, Treylon Burks with a little tutty.
People went nuts. He was. I got him, dude. The first night this weekend when I drafted, I got him in round 14. He scores a touchdown in like the third quarter against 7th stringers that are going to be cut, and he moved back to round 9. It's so funny, man. It's so freaking funny.
The volatility has been madness, and after he was someone that early on we had as basically I think the overall wide receiver 1 for the rookies in redraft.
Yes.
Just based on before any of this went down, even dating back to June, it was just look at the wide receiver depth charts going on. We didn't know how far along Robert Woods was and everything. And yeah, it corrected, but he shouldn't be going, now past Jahan Dotson. Now he's just becoming, again, a undervalued rookie first round wide receiver because of factors that maybe we shouldn't be freaking out that much about, because really Tennessee, I think they're a pretty smart organization, Dwayne. They always seem to be making the playoffs despite maybe not being the sexiest team the mainstream media wants to talk about. But I don't think they really used the 19th overall pick on Treylon Burks to make him their wide receiver 5 or wide receiver 6 like he was out there. Maybe exactly. Just maybe it was a little bit of just being a freaking preseason game.
Exactly. So we've got 2 picks until us. I think we need another receiver. Obviously, we can still use another running back. I say we let quarterback go by. There are 2 teams after us that don't have one. There is a chance they take Trey Lance and Tom Brady, but I'm willing to take it just because we know we could still come back to any one of the Stafford, Carr, Cousins types.
Yep.
There goes Penny right in front of us. What are you feeling here? Chris Olave would be my smash pick if he's here. I would just immediately take him.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's
but I'm open
available.
To your thought. Yeah, normally he's gone by now.
We don't need to worry about Rondale for a little bit. There's some other guys between him anyway.
And even if Olave is gone, I would take Pickens. We don't have any Pickens together. We have one where we got him in round 17, which was nice. Or we could go Treylon Burks. I think because once it comes back to us, if neither one of these players on the end take a quarterback, they're signs.
Olave.
Neither one of so we get Olave. Let's go ahead and do that now. You good?
Yes, absolutely.
Right,
damn, I didn't want to think about what I was going to do if Olave wasn't there. We don't have to. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So we get Olave. Now we'll see what these guys do. If neither one of them take a quarterback and it comes back to us, we let it go again, because everyone to our left going back the other way, there's only one team without a quarterback. So we can let it go because we'll be like, okay, we get Trey Lance or we get Tom Brady coming back to us. Now, one of them could double up, but it's fine. It's just a risk, right, that you take, trying to maximize your roster construction. But those are the kind of, games, and we've talked about it multiple times. That's the kind of, you have to give yourself a chance to create a monster, folks. You got to give yourself a chance. If you want a monster to jump out of the closet and fucking scare you out of your fucking boots, you got to give it a chance to happen, man. You can't just, come on, man.
You turned things up there. I was looking up the name of a song, Let It Ride by the Bachman Turner Overdrive, catchy oldies jam. And I was saying we got to pipe that in every time we decide to let the quarterback go for another turnaround. Just let it ride. And
we need theme music for that.
Well, I don't know. I tried to get I wanted Voodoo Child as the intro to this podcast, but apparently it's pretty expensive to get Jimi Hendrix rights for a low-key fantasy football podcast. So instead we got our cool little guitar riff thing that happens now. I'll take it, Dwayne. I'm not trying to hate on the intro music, but hey, Voodoo Child, that guitar in the beginning, oh my goodness, that would slap. That's probably the difference between us being a top 10 fantasy sports podcast and being the number one. Let's be honest. When you take everything else aside, what's really the difference?
So there goes Lance, which we probably could have predicted. Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle on that team, which is fine. Honestly, I prefer Brady around later at this point than taking Lance.
If he's still there.
If he's still not, there goes George Pickens.
If he's not,
I think we still have a conversation, man. We got Sky Moore still on the board. We got Treylon Burks still on the board. Man. I mean, these are players that can make huge differences in your fantasy season. There's only one team to our left that doesn't have a quarterback. There goes Kenneth Walker.
Brady's right there at the top, though, man. I mean,
I know he is, but we've done this before
by accident.
He could, but how devastated will you be if we get Aaron Rodgers and Justin Fields, or if we get
we can do it, but let's see. We already got our 5 wide receivers.
But
Not
these
saying
are real,
that's
but we still we have one that's not going to be there 6 weeks. You're going to have injuries. So this is I don't know, man.
now it's Treylon, but again, Treylon Burks still has that volatility. Are you that convinced that he's not going to be back?
Well, it's okay. It was round 10. We're taking swings, man. We're swinging on the talent. Like we just want as many as we can. I'm willing to pass Brady. If you want to take him, I'm fine taking him.
This would be slightly ahead of ADP. Hate to do that.
Yeah, because the end of this round will be 120. So
Right.
this is about this is a little slightly after ADP.
I feel like Brady's a freaking value, but here's my thing. No. Brady's a value on like where kind of Burrow goes in certain drafts, but the thing is, you could argue the same thing as the other guys are value off where even Brady is going. So,
but here's what I will say. So there goes Pacheco. We really like our ability to navigate the later rounds. So that's the reason if you want to take Brady, like, yeah, we're not going to get Treylon Burks, but we still might get Rondell Moore. We'll still probably get Jahan Dotson.
I'm comfortable with either Brady or Treylon Burks. Your pick.
Let's take Brady. We'll take him. Because I'm looking, I mean, he's still the number one value on the board at ADP. We make sure this is a really good squad if we take Brady because we've got a good quarterback, a great tight end, really good receivers. We've got three running backs.
Let's go Tom Brady.
All right, let's take him. Go ahead and do it.
Tom Brady in round 10. I mean, look, man, I get it. Round 11 Brady sounds even better, but beggars can't always be choosers here. He was the last quarterback we had in the one tier. Yeah. And it's always funny.
Again, we're still, as I was thinking through it, we've risked it in that same situation and it's worked, right? It doesn't always work. But the bigger part for me is how strongly we feel about our ability to still get the Isaiah McKenzie's and all those guys of the world, right? The KJ Hamlers. There's still a lot of other options, that we can still continue to build out the receiver core even after this.
Hamler looking pretty good. You see those routes I tweeted out?
Mm-hmm.
Man, certainly did look like someone just going in and getting their feet wet. Bro, like he could be out there for
I think he's going to be.
Yeah, what if he's just out there for 70% routes? Like they might use enough 2 tight end stuff, but like he could easily just be their full-time number 3 from day one.
Yeah. I'm well, you don't have to pump up Hamler for me.
Like, think about it, bro.
I love it.
They had a 4th and 1 where they like dialed up a little. It was like a sluggo for Hamler, and he toasted the corner. The quarterback was sitting on something short because it was 4th and 1. So it wasn't like the most impressive thing in the world necessarily. With that said, whatever quarterback it was, like dumped it down. And you saw Hamler like jumping up and down, slapping his hands because he knew he had a touchdown. Like literally the way our industry and the ADP works, man, like if the quarterback just takes that layup 40-yard touchdown instead, Hamler's probably going like 4 rounds higher right now.
Exactly. That's the point. Yeah. Again, like these little bitty things that that make one player move up 3-4 rounds in ADP and another one just stays where they are. And again, there goes Rondell. That's just, it's part of, the way the ADP game works, and we can't help it. We're like, the way I look at it is like humans, we're all just, you see people that have like those bug lanterns on their back porch that just draw in like all the mosquitoes and stuff. It's like, we can't help it. We see a damn highlight and we just like start flying towards it to our death. It's like, zzz, and you're done. And it's the way our culture works. It's the way social media works. So yeah, you're basically just trying to take advantage of the opposite, right? Of whatever some of those big swings are.
Tyler Algier off the board.
That dude's like the number 4 back on that team.
Before Rashad White, Madison, Michael Carter.
Did Damian Williams get released today? Damian Williams got to rest with the starters this weekend.
It's all like they might cut Allison instead, but it's still going to be freaking 3 or 4
He's
guys.
Number 4, man. It's Cordarrelle Patterson. It's Damian Williams. Well, Algier could be number 3. He could be number 3. Yeah. Algier's a guy that maybe he works his way in like over the course of the season, but man, I'm not putting a chip on that because here's the thing: Cordarrelle Patterson, unless he's injured, he's not giving up the passing down work, folks, and it's going to be an offense that how many games are the Falcons projected to win? 5.5. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't get it. Sorry,
Oh
Ian
my
cracks
gosh.
up when I get
No,
all
no,
worked
no.
up.
I'm sorry. I was reading my, I got
Oh,
a
you're
hand.
reading your own tweet, laughing.
No, God damn it, Dwayne. I'm reading my notifications from Ari, Rap Sheet, Schefter, and like Roto World just to
going too.
just keep the news going. And I saw this is Schefter. Jets informed quarterback Chris Streveler, who helped lead the team to an unbeaten preseason and also led the team in rushing yards this summer, that they plan to release him Tuesday per source. Like just the most unneeded extra thing for Chris freaking Streveler ever. Hey, fair play to Chris Streveler for the preseason. I'm not here to hate on preseason all-stars, but
Yeah,
it's just funny when we get the certain players get the extra little sidebar, certain ones don't. But it is what it is. Round 11, Dwayne, certain someone still on the board. That'd be an all-time
certain someone.
all-time
that's how
feather, all-time feather in the Hartitz cap if Treylon Burks makes it back to us.
You had it perfect. A certain someone. Like you couldn't just leave it alone. God, there goes Russell Gage. That was kind of when I get Brady in round 10 or 11, it's like I've been getting Gage a lot with him. Now Julio's still there, so there goes Rashad White. I was gonna say Rashad White would be the other one.
You see that nice little comeback Julio had, bro?
Yeah.
What if he's just freaking? I was thinking more. I love what Curtis was tweeting about him just being more of like a red zone threat. Number 4. Okay, is he just going to be like a 80% route number 2 on the outside of Evans? Because that also works.
Yeah, like I think they brought him in to be the big slot without Godwin.
I did too. But then I saw that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be Julio. If he's really good, what it's going to do is it's going to force a 4-way rotation where all these guys are rotating in and out.
Get Cam Brate's freaking ass on the sideline. Like, come on here. Or he's not.
Who needs a tight end, Hartitz? Who needs a tight end?
Are they pass blocking? Give me the wide receiver out there, Dwayne. And I know I'm going to have – this is what happens every time I try to talk like scheme. The offensive line truthers of the world just rip me apart. And it's always like deservingly so. So I'm not saying they're wrong. But, man, Dwayne, I just get you guys – if you got a quarterback like Tom Brady, bro, we've talked about this before. His average release time's like under 2.2 seconds. Yet he still maintains like a high average target depth. If there's anyone that could live with 4 and 5 wide receiver formations and just get the ball out to the open guy in the right read just before the pressure can get there, it's Tom Brady. So just saying. Right now, Brian Robinson, top player in ADP. I imagine it's going to take a little bit for that to go through 2 picks as I'm trying to just buy some time. But
I like Burks and Garrett Wilson. They're both guys that were first-round draft picks. Yep. You know, we're just betting on talent here. Jahan Dotson would be the other option. So there goes Garrett Wilson. We got 1 pick till us. It's fine. If he takes Treylon Burks, we just take Jahan Dotson and move forward. The guys are all right. Just
if we get Treylon Burks,
backs,
I'm pouring
5 running
shot.
backs, 4 running backs, 5 running backs. We can let the back go. I think we get Dotson, so we get Treylon.
Let's go, baby!
Way to go, Hartitz.
I'm gonna shot.
And the team too would have taken Brady. He took Aaron Rodgers. So you called it perfectly.
Great day to be great.
Yeah. Very nice. And was Sky Moore did go? Yeah, he's gone. Okay, good. So we've got these guys behind us. We'll see what they do here. We've still got running backs in the queue. We've got Jamal Williams. We've got Khalil Herbert. We've got Zamir White sitting there. We've got 3 running backs on the team right now. So ideally, like that would be nice to get one of those guys to come back. But if not, we do have Isaiah McKenzie, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Julio Jones, who would be a stack with Tom Brady also in the queue. And as soon as I say that, Khalil Herbert still goes off as the 5th running back to team 9 in the draft. So take him out of there. But looking at the squad so far, we have got starting quarterback Tom Brady. At running back, we've got Travis Etienne, explosive pass catching down back. Chase Edmonds, explosive pass catching down back. Ramondre Stevenson, a guy that Ian and I do not have a share of together yet, but we got him in round 8, where he's been going in round 6 and round 7. Also does check the boxes of was pretty good in the passing game last year from a targets per route run standpoint. Really good as far as his yards after contact, missed tackles forced. So those are nice things. Oh, wow. And we get the teams behind us now to go after their backup quarterbacks, basically. But then at receiver, we have got Stefon Diggs, Keenan Allen, DK Metcalf, DeAndre Hopkins, Chris Olave, and Treylon Burks. And remember, this is one quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 2 flex, and 1 tight end. And it is tight end premium. Like, this is a really strong lineup from top to bottom. We've got some good depth going. I really, really like this squad, Ian.
The only question, Dwayne, is do you think we need like Jamal Williams to this?
We do. That's what I was just covering with I just covered our queue and talked about, who's remaining, taking the receiver. Like, we're hoping one of Jamal Williams or even Zamir White at this point. I would just take either one if one of them's there. Now, the only thing you could get me to not do that for would be if you just want the Julio stack.
I don't care about I don't really care about the stack,
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I agree. I think the positional need is greater than the stack at this point.
Like did Hamler already go? No, he's way down there. Like, if we have 6 wide receivers, if Hamler or like KJ Osborne or someone is our 7th instead of Julio or McKenzie, like, they rank lower for a reason, but at the same time, like, the running back drop off is huge. So I just think, and now we will have either Jamal or Zamir. I think that's the move. Let's go, Jamal
Williams.
Yep. This dude was built in a factory to be your RB4 in fantasy football, man. I'm
telling you, man, if something does, we don't want it to, but if something does happen with DeAndre Swift, like, he can be an every down back. Like, this guy can play pass downs. We've seen him do it before. He's not an explosive playmaker. Like, we want the explosive pass catching backs, but you reach a point in the draft where the explosive part's gone. So you're just like, give me the guy that can still play every downs, including passing downs. And Jamal Williams is that. And even though we say he's not explosive, like, he's definitely a high energy runner. Like, he's still a fun guy to watch, play football.
Yeah. And they got Justin. I saw the nice Justin.
They have a good offensive line, man.
Justin Jackson had a nice hurdle after like picking up 35 yards in his game. They got Goblin out there. I'm not saying those guys, it's not going to be 100% Jamal Williams, but I really, last year it was only like 55%, and that was when he was really banged up. And even though he was banged up, he was still flirting with like 18 to 20 touches per week. So, man, we just need like a little bit more than that. And we're talking about someone, again, being this year's version of James Conner, which I really think is firmly within his range of outcomes. Squad's looking good, though, Dwayne.
Dude, I love the squad. If David Njoku comes back, I would be willing to take him as well. It really does look like he's going to get the full-time role. Evan Ingram also looks like he is going to have a full-time role based on what we've seen with starters this preseason. Those are 2, and we've talked about them in the past. We've athletic tight ends that could still really come through. If they could have the every down, when we say every down, these are 2 guys that so far in preseason with the starters have been right around the 80% mark, which is what we want. And if you're an 80% route participation tight end, historically, like over like the last 15 years, 90% of the time you're a top 12 tight end when that happens. Now, again, we have to always caveat that with Tyler Higbee from last season. And we can pause a moment for silence if you want, whatever we need to do about that. But now, like, looking back at Tyler Higbee, like, the way they used him, man, like putting him outside, making the cornerback go with him so that they could keep Cooper Kupp inside against the linebacker and stuff. So basically Tyler Higbee was just this freaking chess piece that was like Sean McVay's like, you guys are idiots. Like, you're going to give me this matchup with Cooper Kupp.
Amazing. And it is funny though, man. I spent the last Thursday, like since March, every Thursday, John Daigle and Hayden Winks and I, and Dwayne, you joined us 2 or 3 times. We do the 4-for-4 stream, so it was always good being able to pick those guys' minds throughout the week. As much as I really do believe Dwayne and I have our shit together, we bring on guests here just to make sure sometimes. And Hayden brought up the point last time where it's wild, man. You look at these underdog rankings. You can argue that tight end 16 through 20, even 21, is better than tight end like 11 through 15. Like, Dwayne, if you could have these 5 tight ends, Cole Kmet, Pat Freiermuth, Alberto, Irv Smith, and Hunter Henry, or David Njoku, Mike Gesicki, Gerald Everett, Robert Tonyan, and Tyler Higbee. Like, it's pretty damn close.
Yeah, no, actually, out of the group you just said, I would take Njoku at the top easily. Like, that's the guy I would rather have.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, those groups of 5 even. Like, the second one, okay, sure, maybe you prefer the group, the top group, but when you start looking at the ADPs involved, it's like, what are we doing here?
So I'll tell people, like, here's who you should be taking: Evan Ingram, Brevin Jordan, David Njoku. If you get past the top guys, just read your cue, see where they're going, and the last name I'll throw in is Mo Alley Cox. All those guys have been over 75% routes run per drop back with the starters this preseason. Those are the targets I would have if I miss on the top ones. I would not mess with Hunter Henry. It looks like it's going to be a real split now. Alberto, if he falls far enough, like we still like the talent profile. And people got all excited just because he didn't get thrown out there with the starters. Look, folks, like he played into the third and fourth quarter. And I love Alberto. Like this is an Alberto, like if there's such a thing as a truther, like I'm an Alberto truther. Like Ian, gave me a hard time about it all offseason. But when enough things happen, like I'm like, okay, I'm like, you're right. Like
as someone that has been tied to a lot of truthers I've been a truther for a lot of players that some people argue maybe haven't worked out to that great of extent so far. Keep extending the timeline, man. Extend the timeline, change the bar, and they can never prove you wrong.
Yeah, it's just like character arcs, like on like Game of Thrones. You just keep changing it, man. Like you can, yeah.
Hey, House of Dragons.
I've watched the first two. Have you watched them?
Big same, enjoying them. I missed the original Game of Thrones craze because I watched it like after the whole series.
I did too.
Was kind of done. So it's good to be in from the ground floor on this one. I haven't been tweeting too much yet, but it's always a chance to get some meme material. Dwayne, I was shouting out the rehearsal another time. That's another great HBO show. Nathan Fielder out originally, trying to stay cultured here, even in the thick of fantasy football season. How about that? Great day to be great.
Yeah, look at us. I don't think we've ever even talked about any TV show.
This is the first time.
So
this is I don't want to shut another podcast, but I do. It is funny when, hey, that many people are interested, man. Which Game of Thrones really did take over like everything. And I remember like people, it was the one kind of show that people would talk about on fantasy or sports Twitter, and people were just like, okay, like whatever. Like this is an exception.
It was the one that was allowed.
Yeah, so I'm not going to be the podcast that we're not going to be the podcast that talks about it, but that's okay.
Deontay Foreman just went off the board. Like, folks, don't take Deontay Foreman. Honestly, if you're going to take one back,
I have Chuba one spot ahead of Deontay. Well, how
yeah, I think it's probably even more than that. It's still going to be a committee, but Chuba's handled almost all the passing down work all preseason. So if you have something that happens with CMC, remember this is the Panthers. Probably not going to be a good team. You want the passing down back. Deonta Foreman has taken on 60% of the short down and distance work. Chuba only 40%. So I think he'll steal some of the touchdowns, which will make things tough. If I had to take one as Chuba, my overall advice would be just to avoid the backup situation behind CMC. I think it's going to be a committee between both guys. And it could also just change on us, like at any moment. Like we just don't know for sure what it's going to look like. And if I had to pick one, it would be Chuba.
And then in Tennessee, if you had to pick one, it'd be Dontrell Hilliard. That one's far easier to, figure out. But Hassan Haskins, even if he does beat out Julius Chestnut, whose name I'm now pretty confident we got down, it does look like Haskins probably has the lead in that. But with that said, Dontrell Hilliard would still be someone that I think could handle 10 carries and then get the heavy majority of the pass down work should Derrick Henry miss some time.
There goes Tanyan. Another name I'm really just
Tanyan like Funyun.
No, it's Tanyan whenever I say it.
Oh my god!
Now you say Albert Okwebunam. You say that.
Look, Dwayne.
I just say it. Say it the way you know to say it. You're
Albert Okwe. Oh my goodness!
All right, so here we go. Julio still on the board here. So if he's here, I think he's the smash pick. Then I think it's Evan Ingram or Brevin Jordan. And Brevin typically goes a little later, so we could wait. But I think we could grab Evan Ingram.
Julio!
Yeah, here we go. Let's get Julio. I'm looking behind us. Everybody has one tight end. It doesn't matter. This is too late for Julio. We're just going to take him. We've got Brady on the squad.
Bro, we almost took him last round.
Yes, you're correct.
Fantastic. And I think we have a reasonable chance at getting maybe both those tight ends to fall to us, honestly.
We'll see. Evan Ingram's the one up top, but the other name that I have in our queue is Raheem Mostert. I know we're not like big handcuff guys, but when I'm getting him in round 14, and we talked about it, it could really be an even split. And if for some reason Chase Edmonds went down, man, if for whatever games Mostert's healthy, we have no way of predicting that, folks. It could be a quarter. Like Ian knows, last year it was a sad first. It was a sad like second drive maybe. Of the 49ers.
He led the league in yards per carry, Dwayne. Minimum 2 carries.
Noah Fant goes off the board here. Folks, do not draft Noah Fant. He has not even been in a route 60% of the time with the starters. You heard 80%'s good. Like he's at 55%. You are not ever going to be able to start Noah Fant, even in case of a fire. Even if the starter Will Dissly goes down, it's not going to matter. Colby,
you stole my line. You stole my line.
I did. It's a good one to steal it from you for, though. Like I felt like I appropriately used it.
I was literally typing out a tweet using that joke. I'm going to continue to do it, but that's hilarious. That's a mind meld moment if I've ever seen one. Hey, I updated the sheet. Jacoby Myers was gone. In fact, I got your back, bro.
Thank you. I saw you're doing that. Like we're like 8 in on these, and you're finally helping me. I do appreciate it.
When you were late at the doctor's at the eye appointment or whatever, I was like hustling.
You freaking out. You're like, oh my god, what am I gonna do?
I figured it out. It was all good. It helped when the freaking commissioner paused the draft for us. So we'll take it, Dwayne.
Well, that, and it was just classic, podcasting. Dwayne going 89 miles an hour down a 40-mile-an-hour country road. There goes Evan Ingram. It's okay. We're good.
I remember you were doing that, and I was like, "Hey, this is funny, but like, please don't speed. It's okay. We're just we're in the first round." Oh my!
It wasn't in a school zone. I'll at least say that.
There we go. KJ Osborne off the board. Still have Brevin Jordan, Raheem Mostert, Mike Davis available. Mostert or Mike Davis, man.
I think we need to go ahead and grab Mostert here.
That's fine with me.
Mike Davis goes later, but Mike Davis is going to be I think he might be the starting running back for the Ravens for like the first couple of weeks,
which is madness. But yeah, you're right. We can get him far later. I didn't check the ADP on that. Yep.
Yeah, you have to type. Yeah, you got to type him in to even get him to pull up. Somebody's would have to have like somebody.
No, that's fine.
They have to be looking at a sheet telling them to take Mike Davis.
I do think they're like you have them the same tier, like as you should. But it is funny how wide that is. So yes, Raheem Mostert, welcome to the squad. Still, I really hope that Hamler falls to us next round. That would be a coup, if you might say.
Or Paris Campbell. Paris Campbell's the other one. 3 players that I'm pretty much taking at the end of every one of these drafts are KJ Hamler, Paris Campbell, and Terry McLaurin. All explosive playmakers. All Will Campbell.
Hey, hold on, Dwayne. Hold on, Dwayne.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before you talk about Paris Campbell, I just want to say that we're doing a new segment here, the sleeper of the day for a bit, courtesy of the fine fantasy app and folks over at Sleeper. Love that we're getting some work done with them. So, Dwayne, how about you talk about our sleeper of the day, Mr. Paris Campbell?
Yeah, Paris Campbell, this last game, again, did not come off the field whenever they went to 12 personnel. So he was the guy that stayed out. I think him and Alec Pierce will probably split a little bit of those, but Paris Campbell really does look to be the base set receiver, not just the slot guy. Whenever they go to 3 wide, he is the one that gets to kick inside and play from the slot. We know he's an explosive playmaker. He's somebody that you can get involved underneath. You can get him involved over the top. He just hasn't been healthy. He's a 2nd-round pick, and I'm still excited about him, man. Curtis Samuel, if you look at Washington, they're going to play 3 wide receiver sets. That's what they're going to do this year.
They're the same person, pretty much, like for all intents and purposes. Yeah.
And so Curtis Samuel has been out there over 75% of the dropbacks with the starters. So again, Washington's going to a 3 wide set. It wouldn't necessarily surprise me. And if we look up and it's week 4 and we're like, Curtis Samuel's actually the wide receiver 2 behind Terry McLaurin. He's a good player. Again, you just want to take explosive, good players at the ends of these drafts. If something were to happen to McLaurin or to happen to Jahan Dotson, then all of a sudden you're talking about a guy that's really got a significant role with Washington. So lots of outs for players like that.
I mean, Curtis Samuel, he disappointed in 2019 because Kyle Allen I don't even want to talk about it. It just makes me mad. But 2020 comes back. I think he might have had an extra game or 2. He literally outscored Cooper Kupp in the year 2020 when both guys had terrible quarterbacks. I mean, it's just something that happened in this version of the simulation that we're in. I mean, both him, all 3 of them, him, Robbie, DJ Moore, those were all top 30 wide receivers with Teddy Bridgewater. That's the one kind of hesitation I've had about these Broncos wide receivers. It's like, how come Teddy could do this in Carolina, but he couldn't do it in Denver? But luckily, I think Russell Wilson is going to be fine enough to solve that problem. Brian Robinson finally off the board, RB60. Yeah, it's a tough situation to gauge. Dwayne, how come Tyrion Davis-Price is in red, a little banged up?
No, I actually, so this weekend as I was drafting, and I was just kind of noticing the flow of the drafts, and people are just letting Tyrion Davis-Price by, so I just kind of I put him red just because I just wanted to go back and research it more. Like I haven't actually got to the utilization stuff for the 49ers for this past weekend. Like I'll get to that in the morning. Just kind of raising a flag. But a lot of the guys, that have red, like if I've totally moved them down the board, you'll just see their rank says 999. I just haven't resorted yet because I didn't want to redraw all the lines on these tiers before we draft. Yes, folks, I can be lazy about certain things. If I think something doesn't matter too much and I can push it off till later to do something I think matters more, fine, call me a procrastinator.
All right, I'm gonna update one thing, Dwayne. You have Duke as 999.
Oh, no, you're gonna fix that.
I'm just gonna put him 93. I'm not trying to tell you. I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job. I just want him in the ranks. That's all.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I can go with that, Ian.
That's gonna be a sad day this week. I'm not sure if he's gonna make that cut, Dwayne, but I know I'll have like freaking 30 of you on Twitter letting me know as soon as it happens. So thank you to all you brave soldiers out there.
Where are you at now on Isaiah Likely? We're hearing now rumors that what if really he's just maybe going to be on the field more than we think. You and I think both agree that he plays the same role as Mark Andrews. So he's not taking the stuff from Andrews. But at the same time, do we really know that Devin Duvernay is going to be on the field that much? I mean,
what's likely ceiling if Andrews doesn't get hurt, like tight end 12 or something? Like we're not going to ever feel good about flexing Likely, maybe in premium. Okay. And that's what we're drafting right now. So I'm not saying no to him in this range, but for redraft purposes, like we're talking about a handcuffed tight end here. I still think even in the freaking, hey, let's look at everyone's like best case scenario. There's a lot of tight ends that have a far better one than Isaiah Likely. He's a number 2 tight end at the end of the day, man. I feel like this is classic.
That's what I'm asking. What would be terrible, right, if you're not drafting him, if all of a sudden they just basically use him as a wide receiver? And if there's one team that might try to do it, like it would be the freaking Ravens. Like,
but is he gonna come on, man? Like he ran 25 routes against.
Hey, you're the guy that says that Tony Pollard could be a starting slot receiver. So why couldn't a tight end be a starting receiver?
I hate when you bring logic.
You just hate when I bring Tony Pollard. Ian,
okay. My point with Likely, unlike
Mike Davis, are you kidding me?
We know Tony Pollard has been an elite talent with the football in his hands. I'm just saying I'm not positive that Isaiah Likely is the next big thing at tight end yet. He had a fun couple game stretch. Again, Jesper Horsted had 3 touchdown game in the preseason last year, man. Let's bring the bar down lower. And hey, Dwayne, you know the amount of USFL research I had to do this spring, man. Go look at the preseason leaderboards. Yes, you'll see Isaiah Likely with a couple nice comp groups, and you're also going to see a handful of tight ends with his yards per route run, or at least in the top 10, that have probably not even played a regular season game in the last 3 years, because it's the Kyle Sloter story, man. Like you see 4 or 5 quality starters that have had good preseasons, then you see a bunch of freaking nobodies because it is the preseason. So I'm prepared to be wrong, but like, how come not? Was there a soul that said a damn thing about Isaiah Likely before?
There were actually there were
damn.
Yeah. Look, again, obviously, it wasn't like a huge, amount of folks. Otherwise,
this is someone you should take in your 4th or 5th round of your dynasty rookie draft.
But in a draft like this, where you're playing tight end premium, I think he's a name you consider at the end of a draft. I mean, I'm not taking him over Brevin Jordan or maybe even Mo Alley Cox, who I think have starting roles. So we got 2 picks till us, Ian. I've got KJ Hamler obviously in the queue. I think he's the easy pick if he's there. Curtis Samuel we can wait on. Paris Campbell usually goes later. The other name that I do like that people have just completely forgotten about is Christian Watson. So I mean, he's still the first receiver, right, that the Packers selected. He's been out due to a knee injury, but he is back at practice now. Didn't play in that last preseason game because they want to take it safe with him. It's a very weak depth chart, right? And we've got Aaron Rodgers throwing you the football. So a lot of things that could happen for someone like a Christian Watson. I think Hamler is the first guy that I would target.
Hamler.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Take your kicker. So we're taking Hamler, right?
Yes, sir. Lock it in.
Cool.
Look, again, Dwayne, I said it from day one. I've been a lifelong Romeo Doubs fan for months. With that said, him and Isaiah Likely are the 2 guys that we are hyping up because of pure preseason efficiency. And that's supposed to be our rule that we don't do.
Yeah, but again, you're late. Right now, you're drafting in rounds that most people drafting in home.
That's the other thing.
Their draft's already over, right?
That's the other thing.
We're in a 20-rounder.
I'm doing a little bit of a straw man thing here. So I know Isaiah Likely isn't being considered as a top 12 tight end. So it's all at the ADP. Just I just really think that if we simulate the season, like how many times out of 100 is Isaiah likely really gonna matter, and for him to be dominating the conversation is just so typical preseason. Fair
But
play
the
to
way
him.
it goes, like as if, I think it's fair, but you do want to bet on talent late, and he's at least flashed, right? So I mean, there's other guys down here that haven't shown anything yet. Doesn't mean that they're not good, but yeah. Anyway,
I'm old enough
so
to remember
I
the
do like
magical.
Brevin Jordan. I want Brevin Jordan to come back to us here. If not, I like Christian Watson and Paris Campbell. The running backs I've been putting in my queue, these guys are actually drafting pretty good at running back. Usually I get Mike Davis in round 16 or 17. He went in round 15 here. I usually get Amir Abdullah in round 16. He went in round 15 here. Benjamin went in round 15 here. So they're kind of sniping the queue like every time I put a player over.
Well, Jeff Wilson,
Johnson,
he might be the handcuff. Jeff Wilson might be the handcuff.
Yeah, Jeff Wilson might be the handcuff. The other name was in my mind was Samaje Perine. I think it's pretty clear at this point that Perine is the backup, not Chris Evans. Who else we got here? We just talked about Chuba. I'll throw him over there. I don't really want him. You think Kenyon Drake's going to sign somewhere?
Yeah. I mean,
I could just tell by the tone. No, we're not taking Kenyon Drake.
Probably, but I don't know, man. Well, did you see the Josina Anderson tweet where it was like Kenyon Drake basically said like, "Hey, I got my guaranteed money. I'm good if I play football this year or I don't." I don't know, Dwayne. That's not maybe the exact. I respect the hell out of it.
That sounds like that could be the reason you got cut.
Yeah,
if that was kind of your attitude.
I respect the hell out of it, but when we're trying to build a winning fantasy football champion, I'm not so sure we have a place on our roster. Just like the Raiders decided. Hopefully, Brevin Jordan falls one itsy bitsy.
Just one more pick
here.
Come on,
just one more pick. That's all we're asking. Kenny Galladay's still on the board. My goodness.
I will say with Brevin Jordan, oh my God, yeah, he's about to get cut. That's what's about to happen to him. Oh, he actually hit the queue with Paris Campbell.
There we go.
Brevin Jordan on the squad.
Bro, like the hip surgery just hasn't been the same, I guess. Like it's madness to me. Like Kenny Galladay, my goodness, we had to do enough to be like the $72 million receiver. Even last year, like people weren't lining up to draft him, but it was like the pessimistic and kind of ADP. Like he was kind of a mid-tier kind of like wide receiver 3, when a lot of people kind of with his sort of history of success and just having that contract would be going a lot higher. And nowadays, like still on the freaking board. My goodness, man. But I guess that could be it's like the Dez Bryant drop off, honestly, if I could pick any kind of thing to describe it, where literally 2016 Dez could still do a few things, and 2017 was a brutal year and he was out of the league. Like Kenny Galladay, 2019 fantastic, 2020 only plays 4.5 games, but goes out there and in those 4 games did some good things. Pretty freaking brutal 2021, and all of a sudden it's like, is this dude going to have a roster spot anywhere?
Yeah, it's been a bad 3 years for Kenny. I guess 2 years for sure, but yeah, everything I'm hearing, I mean, it sounds like he could be cut, but maybe Kenny Galladay just needs a change. It is crazy to see him this late, Ian. Like if he comes back, I'll take him.
Yeah,
at this point,
sure.
I mean, even if he signs somewhere else, like I don't know.
73 wide receivers have been drafted, Dwayne. That's my point. Like how bad does it have to get? This guy is a contract with freaking 72 and then what, 6 zeros? That's how it works, I think. That is so freaking big, man. And this dude's going outside the top 70 wide receivers. This dude's going later than the amount of millions of dollars in his contract. Has that ever happened? Like, no,
like this has got to be the latest he's gone for
a
sure.
wide receiver.
I mean, we're around 16. This got to be the latest.
This is pure madness. Like we got people gobbling up defenses and kickers. Just never mind, Kenny G. Babytron. We all called this man Babytron for years. Like Kenny Galladay was a baller with Matthew Stafford for years. Marvin Jones is going to go ahead of Kenny Galladay. If he hasn't already, probably already has.
Yeah, Marvin Jones is a name that often gets drafted, and I forget to mark him off.
One of those guys. Jameson Williams finally off the board, wide receiver 74. I'll say this. If your league has IR and stuff, Jameson Williams becomes a lot more acceptable in this sort of rounds.
Yep.
All right. So through 16 rounds, we got one quarterback. His name is Tom Brady. Got him round 10. We have 5 running backs: Travis Etienne, Chase Edmonds, Ramondre Stevenson, Jamal Williams, and Raheem Mostert. All 5, man. Not like we're not thrilled about starting Mostert or Jamal more weeks than not. You can maybe even throw Stevenson in there, but all 3 do have that potential flex value with the potential for so much more, especially in Williams, Stevenson, Edmonds, and Etienne case. But it's true, Dwayne. Chase Edmonds got hurt at this point. It'd be pretty hard to keep Mostert out of the starting lineup as well.
Oh, dude, if Chase Edmonds got hurt, we'll feel great about starting Mostert. Like, we don't want Chase Edmonds hurt, but
as we say, like, it's not ideal to handcuff your own running back, but that's definitely in best ball. And when it's round freaking,
and it was late.
Round 6 and 14 is different than, let's see, Zeke went round 3 and Pollard went round 7. Like, I would argue, we're taking Raheem Mostert next to guys like Marlon Mack, Isaiah Spiller, and Mecole Hardman. There's, Tony Pollard going up against Kyler Murray and Drake London, DeAndre Hopkins, and guys like that. So everything at the right price can be okay. At tight end, we figured it out earlier. Mark Andrews didn't have to worry about it until we just got Brevin Jordan round 16. Nice little late round dart. Is he? I feel like, Dwayne, I've seen quite a few tweets from you about Brevin Jordan. Is he turning into your favorite late round tight end of the season?
He's definitely one of them. I kind of gave the list. I mean, it's Mo Alley Cox, it's Brevin Jordan. Evan Ingram's not really a true late round. In most of your drafts, it will be late round. The other one would be Daniel Bellinger. So those guys have pretty much all been on the field all the time with the starters. So if you just find yourself in a pinch at tight end and it didn't work out right, while all these other guys take Gesicki's and they take the Noah Fants and the Gerald Everetts and all those, just let them keep taking them. And then you just circle back and you take Brevin Jordan, or you take a guy like Mo Alley Cox. And then, if you got to play the wire later on the tight end, you can.
Did Kenny Galladay get cut or something? How is he still available?
Yeah, I'm going to look it up real quick. I'll go to Twitter. There was a tweet earlier about how he rubs Brian DeBoll the wrong way.
I was cackling. Shout out to Rita Oak at Rita Oak _art, the girl that's been drawing Jimmy G every day until he gets traded. She's got some more work to do, Dwayne. I think it's going to be a bit until Jimmy G gets traded.
Yeah. All I see is this one thing from NFL rumors. Kenny Galladay has rubbed the Giants head coach Brian DeBoll the wrong way since he arrived in New York. The latest athletic roster projections from the Athletic still have Kenny Galladay on the team.
Yeah, bro, it's him versus like Darius Slayton. Colin Johnson just got hurt. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
pick once. What pick are we at? 1708?
Yeah, let's just take him. I mean, so what? We cut him week 1. I mean, I'm fine.
We're at like pick 211. He's going 50 picks.
163. Let's just take him.
Let's take Kenny Galladay in round 17. Yes. Let's go.
All right. We got him. Kenny, welcome to the squad. It's the only time we'll say it ever.
At this point, my goodness.
Yeah. All right. So we have one more pick left before we got to take a kicker and a defense, Mr. Hartitz. So
hopefully Mr. Mo Alley Cox or Mr. Curtis Samuel. We got plenty of guys.
The other option is Dearness Johnson, running back, Samaje Perine. I feel like we need one more running back on this roster. I hate letting Curtis Samuel go. We probably should have just taken him over Kenny Galladay.
I was thinking that, but how many chances? Maybe we're gonna get a lot more chances.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, this seems extreme.
50 picks past ADP, like that is madness. Was he what number wide receiver was he? Wide receiver 79. I think that's okay. Yeah. But I do wonder about Curtis.
Who do you like out of Perine and Dearness Johnson? I think we need to take one of those two. I think it's Perine just because if we know if Mixon were to get hurt, right?
Right. Like, but Perine's I will say Perine's not getting traded before week 1. Dearness could.
Yeah, and Dearness is the better player by far. Let's take Dearness. There's more upside with him, but if he goes, we'll just take Perine. I think we need to take it back.
If Dearness doesn't get traded, we can probably cut him and get Perine. Or at least we'll have a chance to. I'm not sure if Perine's going to get drafted.
Okay. Yeah. He does sometimes, but yeah,
he does sometimes
as well. So
like Dearness, I think at this point would just be worth the flyer. Or do we want to take a and he'll probably be gone. Let's go Dearness.
Okay. Yeah, if there's another name you like, for sure say it. These guys have actually done a pretty good job picking over this running back queue. Yeah, like Ty Montgomery.
Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 wide receivers. Yeah, I guess we don't need a 10th.
And I like getting the extra back just because technically Raheem Mostert and Edmonds are tied to one another. You know what I mean?
That's true. I think Dearness.
Okay. All right. If he's here, we'll take him. If he goes, we'll just take P. Ryan.
No problemo. Not taking Chuba. Can't do it.
All right.
Devin Duvernay off
Johnson,
the board.
Boom.
There we go.
Honestly, with how well they've picked all these backs and picked them over, I'm kind of surprised we even had Terrence Johnson left.
6 RBs on the squad now. RB1, Travis Etienne. RB2, Chase Edmonds. RB3, Ramondre Stevenson. RB4, Jamal Williams. RB5, Raheem Mostert. And finally, Dearness Johnson. I'll take it, man. This is like at least our first, having Etienne and Edmonds, those are like the two ultimate, hey, we're playing fantasy football, not real life. And that's why these guys should maybe be going a little bit higher than they actually are. We will see that we do have the entire Miami backfield. And hey, we've been saying for years about the Shanahan backfield. Don't be afraid to have, extra bullets in that chamber there. So with Miami there coming from the Shanahan tree, you just never know. Dwayne has left the building, leaving me to fend for myself. I think I'll be okay, everyone. Been here in this position before. Nothing new for your boy. We got to get a defense next. I've written one article about defenses this entire offseason, everyone, but I think it was a good one. Went through, looked at the havoc rate of defenses, and havoc is a cool little stat where basically you're just only kind of forcing yourself to look at things that are going to create turnovers because it's pretty freaking hard to predict the defenses week to week that I should say that they're not going to be as available when we're looking at streamers and lower ranked defenses to get teams with, facing an opponent with an implied total of like 15, 16 points, where it's going to be pretty obvious who those are. We can find some, unearth some other values by looking at havoc, which is tackles for a loss, plus forced fumbles, plus interceptions, plus pass deflections, plus pressures divided by plays. So all big things that kind of lead to fantasy points being scored. Was able to take that, go through, take also the strength of schedule using our lovely fantasy football strength of schedule tool over at PFF. And I came away with the 4 defenses and special teams you should try to leave your draft with. Number 1, ADP. Number 3, Indianapolis Colts, only going behind Buffalo and Tampa Bay. Difference is Buffalo is in Los Angeles facing the Rams in week 1. Tampa is in Dallas facing the Cowboys. The Indianapolis Colts get Davis Mills and Trevor Lawrence to start the season. If they are there at an appropriate range, go ahead and get them. But I'm still not reaching on them because we got the San Francisco 49ers going as a DST number 6 with the Bears and the Seahawks during the first 2 weeks of the year. The Denver Broncos are going as a DST number 9. Yeah, Seattle crowd revenge game with Russell Wilson and all that going on. Maybe that's not quite as easy as we're imagining in week 1. But then, hey, we get the Texans at home. And if you missed out on all those 3, we still got the Cleveland Browns going as the DST number 17. Panthers, Jets, Steelers, and Falcons. Dwayne, I saw you draft with someone else. I don't consider it cheating by any stretch. We're both out here doing things like that. But I will say I saw you guys got Cleveland later. I like to think that I had something to do with that.
Yeah, man. It's those first 4 weeks look great. That's honestly how I've handled defenses like for years. Like just find the easy matchups. But when you get to pair it with the havoc rate as well, I love the way that you broke it down.
We got Myles freaking Garrett out here. It's Aaron Donald's obviously the best defensive player alive and has been for like the last half decade at least. It's just if there is going to be someone to knock him kind of off his throne, like Myles Garrett is someone that I think is on the extremely short list. My goodness.
Absolutely.
Still got Clowney. We got Denzel Ward back there. There's a lot of players in that Cleveland Browns defense, really at all 3 levels, at least on the defensive line and that secondary. So we'll see what's what there. I see Dwayne has some kickers in the queue. I'm not going to address that. If Cleveland is gone, which I don't know that they will be, Baltimore, if they're still there.
Well, everybody to our left, they all have a defense. So unless they want to double up, we get Cleveland.
Okay. Baltimore is going to be someone, bro. They get the Jets week 1. So they get Flacco or an injured version of Zach Wilson. Man, it's going to be, this is bad because Zach Wilson, man, part of what makes the best case scenario for Zach Wilson involves a lot of his athleticism and mobility and him being a gunslinger that can get out of the pocket and launch that shit downfield. I don't want to bet on a limited mobility Zach Wilson, Dwayne. Like, this is, my goodness. I'll tell you what, my streamer of the week on defense, if Zach Wilson is ready to go in week 1 through week 4, like, it's going to be whoever's playing the Jets, like, every single damn time.
Yeah. Wow. And look, everybody wants to double up on defense. They're just not taking the right ones. Folks, just a tip. Don't do this.
They're
don't
doubling. Why?
You're 2 weeks away from the start of the season. Throw any name you want that's at least on a team onto your roster. Stuff can happen in 2 weeks. Do not take 2 defenses.
It's not even 2 weeks. When's the first bye week? 4 or 5? You're going to hold a roster spot with the second defense for that long?
Exactly. And even if you're going to cut them the first week, it doesn't matter. Like, you just shouldn't be taking 2 defenses whenever you've still got this much time before the season starts. Like fine, if it's 1 day before and you're like just stacking 2 defenses that you think have great matchups week 1 and 2, and you're going to cut the first one like as soon as the first week's over and use it, to do your waiver run, and you're going to keep the other defense to play week 2. Like, then I could be like, okay, fine, if it's 1 day before the season starts. But right now, we have all these days, all the practices that are still left. There's still going to be players that could get injured. And there also could just be breaking news around depth charts, different things that could happen. So go ahead and grab Cleveland. You got him, Ian. Good job. Way to go, Hartitz, on the ball.
Got him. And yeah, I will. It's not necessarily towards the bye week. They could be looking ahead, but either way, man, I understand at this point, if you just want to get your one defense, I know I've been an advocate of like, don't draft them at all. Preseason's done. There are still practices and stuff, but if you just want to get your one, that's fine. For the love of God.
And you have to draft them in this one. Like, this format forces you. You have to draft a defense. You have to draft a kicker.
But for the love of God, don't take 2. What are we doing out here, Dwayne?
Yeah. It's just, yeah. It's just better to take shots on some of these other players that could end up. I mean, you could take Ty Montgomery. You could take Trey Sermon. You could take Chris Evans. You could take even Darrell Williams. Like, I know the news is we think Eno's the starter. We don't know for sure. Like, there's just any one of those guys, fine. You cut them. But it's better than carrying the Rams with the Bucks. It's still the better option. Jameson Crowder's still out here on the board. Like, he rested with the starters the other night. Like, there's a lot of names I would much rather take than a second defense. If all of a sudden Isaiah McKenzie went down, that's what you have to think of through. If Isaiah McKenzie went down in practice this week and Jameson Crowder is a free agent and he's going to be the starting slot receiver for Josh Allen, would you rather have the Rams as your second defense or Jameson Crowder on your team?
There you go. Crowder probably is the
Crowder moved
for now.
Yeah, but he would move to like the 11th or 12th round in drafts if that happened.
As we wrap this up, through 19 rounds, I'll say through 20 rounds, we got some kicker. We'll find out at some point. Browns defense, quarterback, Tom Brady. Running backs, ETN, Edmonds, Stevenson, Jamal Williams, Raheem Mostert, and Dearness Johnson. Wide receiver, Diggs, Keenan Allen, DK Metcalf, DeAndre Hopkins, Chris Olave, Treylon Brooks, Julio Jones, KJ Hamler, and round 17, Kenny Galladay. How about that? Tight ends, we got Mark Andrews and Brevin Jordan. Dwayne, I think it's a great team. I'm not saying it's my favorite we've done. I'm not saying it's not my favorite. It's definitely not. It's, again, we had the 101 draft I didn't love, and I don't even hate that draft. I like all of our drafts, and I think that's a testament to the squads we got rolling out here. But it's a situation where I think we're competing.
Yeah, no, and so this draft, we didn't necessarily have like a huge slide on anyone in value. This is more like we did get a lot of the players still that we like. And it's just about constructing, a solid roster, right? And just, thinking through like how do you got to approach this? What's the best way to get, the maximum number of really good players that you want on your team? I do like the fact that we did get exposure to Ramondre Stevenson because he's a guy that, he had just been so steamed up boards. We never could get any exposure, right? And so we get him in round 8. I really like that. We continue to pound DeAndre Hopkins in round 7. I think, once you get Hopkins back for 6 weeks, like, wow, like that could be a really huge advantage. And guess what? You can still come back behind him and you get Chris Olave, Treylon Burks, Julio Jones, KJ Hamler. We threw Kenny Galladay in because, he just fell all the way down the board. That would have normally probably been Curtis Samuel, so, I mean, I feel good about the roster and the way we constructed it. There weren't any crazy values other than the Ramondre Stevenson based on where he's been going recently. And ETN sliding back around in the 4th round is really nice as well. So yeah, I like the team. And the main thing I look at when I first look at these, like, it's cool when people post all their boards, and I love it. And people love it when we post ours and they see some of the players that fell to us. And I get that's what most people are there to see, like who slid the furthest. Like the number one thing you're looking for is like, did someone construct like a really good roster? Yeah. And I like the way we constructed the roster, so I feel good.
Looking through the other squads, there are some solid contenders. I was going through like this team one.
I like team one. Yes.
Team one looks good. There's a couple teams, team 4, team 5 is okay. I was going through the first couple. I was like, oh damn, like we got one good squad after another. With all due respect to the last 4 teams, I'm not so sure they're going to be competing too much, but we'll see, man. I feel like if you can exit your draft and look at yourself and really consider yourself in that top 4, you've done a good job. Again, you guys hear how Dwain and I talk about a player before we draft. I guess it's probably more me than Dwain, but before we draft them, we can have this, real back, well rationed, well thought out decision. And then after it's just all the optimism thing. So I know we're going to be looking at it from a different lens after we're done getting through it, but hey, Dwain, every single position we got, I think we truly have the sort of upside involved to have like a top 3-4 unit in the entire league, if not the best one. Every single position, that's all you can ask for.
Yep. I love the squad.
With that, going to wrap up the 7th Football Guys draft between Dwain and myself. Again, maybe, just maybe, we find a way to get up to 10. If not, you'll freaking live. Get over it. Dwain, what do you got? PFF.com this week.
I have all the utilization stuff that I will be submitting tomorrow, so that'll come out early on Wednesday. I've got a My Guys article coming out, and then just one last fade article before the last weekend of draft season. So just really trying to get folks ready for this last weekend. Might throw another thing in there. We'll see. But obviously you and I have got a lot planned, and we're going to be getting Nathan Yankee on with us as well. So a lot of good stuff on the podcast this week.
Dwain and I will be back tomorrow updating the ranks based on everything that happened in week 3. And then, yes, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end series with our guy, Nathan Yankee, the trio getting after it. We're going to talk through the players that were the most different on, maybe just some, sleepers here and there, bowl calls of the season. Just try to give you guys, again, another good, 45, 60 minute preview of the positions and everything we are thinking there. So for Dwain, I'm Ian. Thanks to those for tuning in to PFF Fantasy Football Podcast. Until next time, take care, everybody.